Hi, I'm Elder Stephen F. Smith. Join me this same station, SVP Network, Channel 31, on December the 30th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. You'll enjoy our show. We're going to change the game. 2014 is going to be a game changer. You'll get many of the things that you need to change the game that night if you watch me. My guests, Bishop William S. Wright, Bishop Brandon B. Porter, Pastor Joel Nichols, Anthony Currie, Darryl Quarles will all join me to help 2014 be a game changer for you. Join us that night, and we'll see you and make 2014 our game changer. See you then.
Coming up next on SVP.
Television and the internet is an excellent medium for conveying God's message of hope worldwide. So, pastors, teachers, evangelists, and Christian talk show hosts, come partner with us as we launch the all-new SVP Christian lineup on Comcast 31 and streaming. Yes, we're streaming your broadcast on the internet, reaching people around the world with the love of Christ and the uncompromised Word of God. Soul-stirring teaching, preaching, singing, and praising. Need equipment and training? Let the award-winning producers of Sam's Video Production install professional camera equipment and train your media team. Come, join us, the all-new SVP Christian lineup. It's effective and it's affordable.
The Game Changer, hosted by Elder Stephen F. Smith. And now, The Game Changer.
Welcome to 2014, The Game Changer. My name is Elder Stephen F. Smith. I pray that you had a great holiday, and it was the Lord impressed upon me that I wanted to have a show because of the coming year, and I wanted people to cast vision for the coming year, people to give you a positive outlook on what's to come in 2014. My guests today are Bishop Brandon B. Porter, Anthony Currie, Bishop William S. Wright, Darryl Quarles, and Pastor Joel Nichols. These great individuals are going to help me show you that 2014 will be the year that the game changes for you.
Happy Honda Days are here. The perfect season to get a great deal on a great car at Wolf Chase Honda. Once a year clearance pricing, 0.9% financing, and leases that'll make your holidays even happier. New 2013 Honda Civic, just $137 a month. New 14 Accord, $167 a month. New 14 CRV, just $187 a month. Catch the spirit and just see how it feels.
Get the year's best savings at the area's only family-owned Honda dealer. Just click and save at wolfchasehonda.com.
Wolf Chase Nissan's Season to Choose event is here. Save now and be merry all year round. Wishing for a new Nissan Altima? Buy now with savings up to $7,500 or lease for just $99 a month. A new Maxima on your list. Savings up to $12,000 off. Financing as low as 0%. 90 days no payment. And now, for a limited time, an iPad Air with any new Nissan purchase.
Just click and save at wolfchasenissan.com. And from our family to yours, happy holidays.
We're changing the game in 2014.
Welcome back to 2014, The Game Changer. The Lord impressed upon me that I just wanted to share with you all some of the things that I saw coming in the coming year. You know, with all of those in this world of breakneck media, we hear bad news story after bad news story. And I just wanted invited some positive people. Each person that I invited they don't know it, but I had them in mind, and they all have one thing in common. Well, they have two things in common. They're high achievers, and they're people that are resilient. And I wanted to get each of them's input, and also they've each impacted my life in a significant way. And I want to get their input on some of the things that we have that they see coming in the year 2014. So to my immediate left is the Bishop Brandon B. Porter, and I want him to share and some of the things that he sees coming in 2014.
Thank you, Pastor Steve. It's a pleasure to be here with you and these distinguished gentlemen. Of course, the year 13, in my opinion, was still a blessed year. It was a year in our ministry that we proclaimed as a year of divine access, a year where we would possess or enter into in order to possess that God had promised. And I really believe that 14 just kind of builds on that for us, since we had access in 13, but 14 really gives us that opportunity to possess. It's one thing to be given access, but another to actually possess what has been promised to you. And the children of Israel had that responsibility, because sometimes for us, we think that sowing and planting is the major thing, but reaping the harvest is really work as well. That's where you really got to put your muscle in and gather, and it's all about timing, doing it in a proper amount of time and reaping. So it's an opportunity for us to expand ourselves, and because of the economy, there's some challenges, with people with jobs and so on. So ministry, if you would, if we're talking about game changing, ministry is going to affect the lives of people as they are part of a viable ministry, and that is to affect three areas of the ministry and their lives, and that's glory, giving, and growth. And so if the ministries that we're part of and these great men of God that are sitting with us, if we affect giving, glory, and growth, then the people that we're serving are going to experience some meaningful things in this coming year.
I was just thinking something, Bishop. It's an old quote of yours. The difference between good and great is exposure.
Yeah, that's why I'm on your
So
show.
I was thinking of that, and when we're talking about ministry in general, but what can you break down to an individual life? I mean, they've got Christmas out of the way. The Christmas bills are soon to come.
Yeah.
So, and they're looking at a new year. What do you see in some of the things from your own life? What challenges have you overcome and you've been resilient? Everybody thinks, that you're just Bishop Porter, the preacher, but I've come to know that you're above average business person too. So you got a real life outside of the church.
Well, absolutely. I think all of us have to have options, and as it relates to ministry, family, and of course, your own personal business. And most of these men, I'm sure, that are on your panel are also not just in God, but they're also have some work ethic. I found out something, though, even as it relates to it, and I always refer back to the Word, of course, because that's who we are, right? But he says he'll open the windows of heaven. If we're tithing and giving offerings, we'll prove God that he'd not open the windows of heaven. But what he wants to do through opening the windows of heaven is to rain on us. There is the latter rain and the former rain, There's a rain that comes for seeding, and then there's a rain that comes to grow your harvest. And so what he wants to do, that is God, for you to not stop dreaming or having ambition. God wants to bless your business, your aspiration, your goals. You have to give God something to bless. Right. Once you sow an offering or seed into a church or tithe, that blesses the church. But you got to keep working so God can bless what you're about, what you're doing, your ministry or your business, your career, or whatever those things are. So have something meaningful that God can bless so that you can not only reap, but you can plant again in the next rain.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to my next guest. This guest I'm pretty familiar with. It's one of my best friends in the world. We're cousins. His name is Anthony Currie. I mean, when I describe my cousin Tony, I describe him as a person that can sell ice to Eskimos. If it needs to be sold, this man can sell it. But he's resilient, and I want him to tell his story, because he's in the jewelry business. Mm-hmm. And this brother here, because when we're talking about game changing, people can give all the reasons why they can't make it, because I don't have this already, I don't have that, I don't have the perfect platform. This brother started selling jewelry out of his trunk. So I want you to tell us how you made it.
Well, thanks for having me. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be able to share today. But I think that when I got started, I'm reminded of Peter when they were in the boat. And one of the things that there were other folks that were in the boat also. Peter began to think, well, what he saw was, and just bear with me just a second while I recollect this. Peter had the opportunity to either be positive or negative with what he saw. He chose to be optimistic in the midst of a storm. When I started my business, it was in the midst of the storm. It was at the beginning of the recession. The other folks in the boat with Peter, they obviously chose to be pessimistic. And so but the one thing in common is they all had the same vantage point. They all could have chosen to see the same thing that Peter saw, but they didn't. And so even in the midst of me starting my business in the middle of a recession, I had to go based on what I thought I saw. And I thought I saw the Lord saying, go for it. And so that's what I did. And so regardless of what I saw, regardless of what was around me, regardless of the news, regardless of what the banks doing what they did, I just made the decision that this is what I wanted to do. And I feel like the Lord gave me an opportunity to do it. He put me around some very good people. In 2014, actually as of last month, 3 months ago, I decided to move to Atlanta and actually expand my business there. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, Tony, you're looking all nice and you're looking well dressed, well groomed, and people think that you haven't been through anything, that you just sailed through life on flowery beds of ease. How have you dealt with adversities in your personal life that somehow can also affect your business?
I think the biggest thing is just knowing really who's in control. Knowing that God's got my back, and I'm not trying to be deep, but it's just real talk. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know that God has called me to certain things and allowed me to do certain things, and one of the things I realize is that sometimes, I've had a lot of success, but I've had some failures also, and I'm reminded of Job. Sometimes God wants people to see you at the very top, but then sometimes and then I think there's sometimes where he wants people to see you when you're not doing so well, because he needs them to see that no matter what state you're in, you're still gonna be who you are, who he called you to be. So that has been the thing that really has grounded me and helped me in my where I am now.
Okay. My next guest is the Bishop William S. Wright, who just answered my call. He had other things going on today. So if you all don't believe that he has a suit and tie, you all can watch him on your local cable channels. He's on all of them.
Custom suit and tie.
Yeah, but I thank him for coming, and I just want him to expound on what you think can turn 2014 into a game changer for our audience.
Well, again, I thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with your television audience as well as these other guests on the panel here. As I sit there and listen to Bishop Porter and Brother Currie, and I can echo the same sentiments, I think that in this year of 2013, this year was a strong learning curve for so many people. I think that it's going to be a turnaround in 14 from the things that they have learned in this year of 2013. I'm doing a series now in my 8 a.m. service entitled There's Hope After Failure. And people so many times focus on their failures, but never look at the expectation of the things that they desire is going to come to pass. There are so many people that mean well, but doing well is a whole different avenue. Meaning well and doing well, is two different kinds of wells. In other words, if, and God forbid, if someone was on death row and the governor offered you a pardon and you gave it to the person that meant well, but you designed to be executed at 12 p.m. and he stops off at Snack a Sapper and he gets food and get there at 12:15 and want to know where is he at? Well, he's over there in the pile, in the corner there. He meant well, but he just didn't do well. There's a whole lot of folks that meant well in this year of 2013 that just couldn't do well, but now they're going to change that well because they learned from this past experience of 2013 that I can do better than what I've done. In spite of my failures, past reverses, God has something greater. And I just believe that this city, the city of Memphis, Basically, we got to get past meaning well and start doing well, irrespectively of the financial aspects of life. We have different categories of life, whether you're middle class, lower middle class, or whatever you want to call it, or upper echelon in life. We still can do better than where we are. I expect that. And I think that once we began to project that message out, not just within our normal congregations and sitting here with these other pastors and businessmen, but to people abroad, that they can get this concept that it's got to go past how I mean and get into the perspective of how I can do it. And I believe that we're going to be way better.
Okay, well, Bishop Wright, you're one of those TV preachers. You don't go through anything. You're sailing through life on flowery beds of ease. How have you dealt with any adversity in your life, or have you faced adversity?
Well, when you look at me right now and I'm sitting in the midst of guys with suit and ties, I was just the guy that you saw say, hey, come in here. You know, I'm looking like I just fell off a watermelon truck. But nevertheless, I dealt with adversities, and I've had some. And I've stated some of my adversities even on a national level. I found out that you could sit there in your pity, and when you get through, that pity is still waiting on you. But you have to look above and beyond where you are. Apostle Paul said, I can do. When we start having the can-do spirit and quit thinking about what I didn't do and what I can't do, I can do not some things, but all things through Christ, which strengthened me. Now, he's not saying the first thing that pop into your head that I can do. But what he is saying, that in spite of past reverses and failures, that when you trust in God, God has made you promises that no other man can revoke. And if God made you a promise, let me tell you something, he's not a man that he shall lie, nor is he the son of man that he shall repent. But if he said anything concerning your life, it shall come to pass. So I just take the I can do spirit.
Well, that's fantastic. All right, my next guest is one of my best friends in the world, Darryl Quarles. Darryl, this is shameless plug time. Tell what you do and what do you see about making 2014 a game changer?
What I do, I'm a financial advisor for Wells Fargo Advisors, VP of Investments. 2014, I think we need to, as a group, as a people, first of all, learn to understand money, because that's what I do for a living. But I really try to teach people how to understand money, because one thing I realized when I got into the financial services business 21 years ago, that we are, Steve and I, how old are you, Bishop? 40 what?
Oh, you're right.
Okay. Steve and I, my man right here, and Tony, we're tweeners. That's what I call it, we're tweeners. We came in after the Civil Rights Movement. We inherited and we learned, we felt some of the discriminatory stuff in our early life, but we didn't really feel it like our parents felt it and our parents before our parents. So we're the first generation of being able to get jobs, make a good living, outside of our parents also being able to do that, but we didn't know anything. Our parents couldn't teach us anything about money because they're the first generation beginning to truly have access to make money. And I realized that. So our parents know anything, but we haven't passed it on. We haven't taught anything because we're the first generation. So one thing I've learned and I've tried to do in my 21 years of business, teach money first. I don't want to invest nothing for a person, do anything for a person, unless they know money. Because you can't learn and go forward unless you understand it, because there's a lot of tricks to the trade. So try to teach that. And what people learned from 2008, 2009, I hope what they learned was to look in the mirror and blame themselves for some of the problems that happened also. And not just blame other people, blame themselves for getting into debt, blame themselves for getting, not knowing how to invest money, blame themselves for buying a car they couldn't afford, blame themselves for a lot of things. And once you do that, you can change. But until you start blaming yourself, you can't change. So I think 2014, like you said before, 2013 was a learning period, 2008, 2009, but what have we learned? Are we still following the paths of the people before us who made mistakes and failed? Or are we learning to go forward and blame ourselves and move forward and learn and educate ourselves about money, about finances, about debt, and about things that deal with finances and money? So.
Now, are you thinking about running for office, Mr.
No,
Quarles?
I have no intention of running for office. Not at all. I may say the wrong thing.
All right, well, I thank all of you all that have shared at this point, and when we come back, we're coming back soon after the break, and we're going to hear from Pastor Joel Nichols, who also is a pretty good businessman, and we're going to hear from him when we return.
Happy Honda days are here. The perfect season to get a great deal on a great car at Wolf Chase Honda. Once a year clearance pricing, 0.9% financing, and leases that'll make your holidays even happier. New 2013 Honda Civic, just $137 a month. New 14 Accord, $167 a month. New 14 CRV, just $187 a month. Catch the spirit and just see how it feels.
Get the year's best savings at the area's only family-owned Honda dealer. Just click and save at wolfchasehonda.com.
Wolf Chase Nissan's Season to Choose event is here. Save now and be merry all year round. Wishing for a new Nissan Altima? Buy now with savings up to $7,500 or lease for just $99 a month. A new Maxima on your list? Savings up to $12,000 off. Financing as low as 0%. 90 days no payment. And now, for a limited time, an iPad Air with any new Nissan purchase.
Just click and save at wolfchasenissan.com. And from our family to yours, happy holidays.
The Game Changer.
Welcome back to 2014, The Game Changer. Earlier in the show, we went through my panel of guests, and one that we didn't have the time to get to in the first setting was Pastor Joel Nichols. Pastor Nichols is a individual that I think Memphis needs to know. I mean, he's actually family to me, we just want to hear from him on today. What do you see in 2014, and what do you see on the horizon to make 2014 a game changer?
Well, thank you, Pastor Steve. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to join you on your show today, and I can't tell you how honored I am that you would even think to have me on the show with such an esteemed panel. So much wisdom, so much God-given wisdom and experience that's here. Just for me to even be sitting and pulling at the coattails of these other gentlemen is something that I really am very thankful and very grateful to you for thinking of me to be here. In terms of 2014, I'm really excited because, first of all, everything that has been said here so far is really just an extension of what we're doing at Redeemed Church in terms of what I like to call a circle of blessings. In 2013, one of the mantras that we got behind was a spiritual explosion. God was blessing us in terms of explosive growth, explosive favor, just an overwhelming spiritual explosion. And he let me know towards the end of 2013 that wasn't just something to stop at the end of the year. That's something to continue on even in 2014. So he led me over to, of all books, Leviticus. And you know, Leviticus gets heavy with a lot of do's and don'ts. It's dealing with a lot of aspects of the law. But over in the 26th chapter, right around the 3rd verse, specifically, I guess even right around the 5th verse, it actually talks about if you obey my commands, then your threshing period will run into your harvest period. And then your harvest period will actually run into your sowing period. And if you continue reading, he actually goes on to say that it's going to be a circle of blessings. As you are sowing, then you're going to be overtaken with the threshing, and then you're going to be overtaken with the harvest. So I believe 2014 is going to be a circle of blessings where when we sow, God is going to bless his people if we keep his commands. Now, I know that was under the law, but God's a covenant God, and we have a new covenant. But the promise of the covenant is still the same. It still applies. I believe that if we keep God's commandments and do exactly what we're told to do and expected to do, he's going to bless us so much so that when we sow, before we know it, we're going to be overcome with our threshing period, which is the period of where we actually separate the good part from the bad, where we actually separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. And as soon as we finish that separation process, we're going to be starting to harvest. Our manifestations are going to come forth. I believe 2014 is going to be a year of a circle of blessings, because before we know it, we sow it, we're going to have to make room in everything that God has blessed us with. We're going to have to get rid of everything that he blessed us with in 2013 to make room for it in 2014. If we keep his commands, I believe he's going to give us a circle of blessings.
Now, Pastor Joel, you started, let's see, I spoke, I was at your dedication service, and I think I recollect saying something about the church that you were in. It started to be in a nail shop what else was it? A dress shop. Well, I think every business. Did y'all sell hair weaves out of there or anything? Okay. But tell us some of the adversities you went through planting. Well, I mean, you came in behind someone, but tell the adversity